First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zheng Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, homage to Master Dubden Dorji, homage to the three jewels of the altar, homage to the main deity of the group practice today, the chief of Sukawati, the western realm of utmost bliss, Amitabha Tathagata, Simu, Tanchen Gyatso, Dubden City, Dubden Kama, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma lecturers, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma teaching assistants, temple directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do?
Hola amigo, te quiero mucho. Scoring, Ichiba, Kimochi, Jumi, Yapi, Pudding Pudding, Komawa.
This is from Malaysia. Lotus Siguang in the Q&A, and he asked, Malaysia, Lotus Siguang.
应该是他讲是莲湖雷藏寺东马。
He's from Lianhu Lezang Temple in East Malaysia, Lohu. He said, since practicing Kalachakra Heruka, authentic Vajra Kila, he has recited Kalachakra Hat mantras daily for many years. Although there are no signs of attaining spiritual union with Kalachakra, it seems there has been a slight increase in wisdom. Now, about Madhyamaka Prasangika School, Madhyamaka Swatantrika School, Kalachakra True Mind School, Kalachakra False Mind School, I have gained basic understanding of them. My understanding of the key meaning of the Surangama Sutra is from within arising and ceasing, one recognizes the non-ceasing and non-arising wondrous luminous true mind. In Yogacara, the roots, consciousnesses, and dust, the 18 realms, are subject to arising and ceasing, whereas the wondrous luminous true mind neither arises nor ceases. So, Grandmaster, may I ask if my understanding is correct.
然后他又讲，
And then he
这是
continued,
对于
my understanding of the Vimalakirti Sutra
的体悟心得是，
is
维摩诘经讲的是不二两个字，
it teaches non-duality.
轮回跟涅槃，
That is, samsara and nirvana are non-dual.
跟熟地不二，
The transcendental ground and the mundane ground are non-dual. Wisdom and methods are non-dual.
也是
Like the principal meaning of Kalachakra is also non-duality. May I ask, Grandmaster,
有没有
whether there is any error in my understanding?
第三个？
Third,
那如果不二是对的，
if non-duality is correct, then
应成派的毕竟空
Prasangika Madhyamaka's view of ultimate emptiness
的他空见
and Jonang's view of other emptiness
是说
that asserts ultimate existence,
各落到一边去，
I feel that this have fallen on the ones
有没有错？
on the wayside. Is there an error in my understanding?
也是
So, in summary, my understanding is it is not emptiness, not
非
existence,
空非有，
not neither emptiness nor existence, but it is non-duality. Non-duality is the absolute one.
并请指正，
Grandmaster, please advise.
就是这样。他讲的是很多的名词啊，
So many terms in here, it's very difficult to translate.
含另外在里面的，
Hanifa is inside,
头都会痛。
would have a headache
全部都是名词，
because those are all terms. Those are very difficult to translate.
什么阴层派啊，
Prasangika, Madhyamaka,
就是很
and Swatantrika, Madhyamaka, all are very difficult to translate
因为大家都知道，
because we all know Tantrayana
中观应层派，
belongs to the Madhyamaka Prasangika.
西藏的密宗是中观应层派，
So the Tibetan Tantrayana belongs to the Madhyamaka Prasangika school. He practices Kalachakra,
练习
Vajrakila,
很多
has chanted Kalachakra heart mantra many years.
看嘛花来说哈，哈，看了花来呀说哈，就是十轮金刚的心咒。
That's the heart mantra of Kalachakra.
其实啊，关于经典的翻译，
Actually, about translations of the sutras,
中国的唐朝，
during the Tang Dynasty of China,
它译经翻译经典最多。
that's the period where most sutras were translated
印度就是天图
from India.
带回来的佛经，
The sutras or scriptures that were brought back from India and translated into
时候的中
the Chinese of that time.
经，易经就是把那个
So
前的那个天图
that's called translating
翻译，
the Sanskrit into
什么
Chinese.
也有翻成藏文，
And of course, some were translated into Tibetan and Mongolian and many other languages.
释迦牟尼佛时代
So during the era of Sakyamuni Buddha,
全部拿回来，
that was
唐
spoken,
朝的时候翻的最多。
all sutras were
翻译
translated the most during the Tang Dynasty.
说法，玄奘法师
And about translation,
天图就是印度的，
Xuanzang, the monk Xuanzang, went to India, Nalanda University, and studied there.
然后把所有的经典再带回来。
And then he brought back all the sutras back
唐朝
to the Tang Dynasty, China. And
大雁塔，
in the Bhikkhu's pagoda in
在那里翻译，
the Tang Dynasty, translating it there.
是属于意义。
So the translation
什么是意义呢？
of
就是把佛经
the monk Xuanzang was meaning translation. What does it mean?
把它翻出来，
So to translate it according to the meaning of the sutra.
佛经里面讲什么，我们按照它的意思去翻，
So whatever is written in the sutras
意思去
are translated according to their meaning,
用句子的意思去翻译，
the meaning of the sentences.
翻译方法。
That's the style of the Venerable
有一个
Xuanzang.
叫做意境，意境所翻译，
And there's another translation style
音译
is the
梵文是什么字？
transliteration or the word by word translation, the word by word from Sanskrit to Chinese.
啊，声音的音，用
So it's like the sound translation.
中文的音是什么？这样子翻出来，
So more like transliteration
单单
according to the sound of the
佛说
Sanskrit.
就有
Just the Amitabha Sutra,
就有三种。
there were 3 versions of the translation.
觉摩龙舍
The one that I often read is by Kumarajiva,
是两种翻译，
and there were 2 other versions. So,
翻译佛经的人很多啊，
so there were many people translating Buddhist sutras, not just those 2.
啊数不清的。
There were countless.
就是把天图的文字翻成汉文，
So you translate the Indian texts into Chinese, into Tibetan, into Mongolian.
就是释迦牟尼佛讲的
So whatever Sakyamuni Buddha spoke
经典
on,
是释迦牟尼佛
those are called sutras, the scriptures, the teachings of the Buddha. And precepts of Vinaya were also spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. And the treatises or commentaries or sastras were the commentaries of the latter gurus or teachers. So the Tripitaka is divided into 3 parts: sutras, sastras, and Vinaya. So the precepts, the scriptures, and the commentaries.
还没有人记录的，
So strictly speaking, during the Buddha's time, when he spoke,
底下的人
nobody would take notes.
没有人
They only listened.
记录下来，没有。
Nobody will take notes.
一直到释迦牟尼
Nobody took notes.
入灭，
Only until Sakyamuni Buddha entered Parinirvana,
那个弟子集合起来，
his disciples
跟着讲，以
gathered
前听过
and listened to Ananda
释迦牟尼佛怎么讲，
spoke on what he heard Sakyamuni Buddha said.
如是我闻。
That's why the sutras start with, "Thus have I heard," as if you were there listening to the Dharma teaching.
以后释迦牟尼佛讲了些什么？
And from then on,
当然，
and then following is what Sakyamuni Buddha said.
所以他讲出
So Ananda had great memory and he listened the most, he heard the most.
那就是
And then the rest agreed that this was spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha, and they then became the Vinaya and the Sutras. And the treatises or commentaries were commentaries by the successors of the Buddha. So that's how the sutras came about. And then that was the old school Buddhism, when the Buddha and the 10 great disciples were alive. That was the beginning of Buddhism. And then there was sectarian Buddhism, the upper division, and then the lower division. And the upper division is closer to the old school. And they believe that the Buddha is only one, which is Sakyamuni Buddha. There was no other Buddhas. But the great division, they believe that the Buddha's sentient beings are the same and the mind are the same. So there are many Buddhas. That's why there are many Buddhas. So those were the... And so in the Theravada tradition, that the Buddha, there's only one Sakyamuni Buddha, but the Mahayana Buddhism believes there are many Buddhas. All sentient beings can become Buddhas too. So that's why the lesser vehicle and the greater vehicle differ. So they emphasize on self-cultivation, only benefit themselves but not benefiting others. But the greater vehicles do benefit both self and others. They are considered on the Bodhisattva path. They benefit sentient beings. So only when they have perfected their realizations and application or conduct, they are considered a Buddha or reach Buddhahood. So there are many versions of translations. When you read them all, you would get a big headache. So there were the two schools. The oldest schools were school of the elders and then the school of the great assembly. But here the Prasangika, Madhyamaka, the Swatrantrika, Madhyamaka, Yogacara, true mind, Yogacara, false mind. So pi is the sound in Chinese for school that sounds like a pie. Like apple pie. Too many of them. They split into many, many different sects. So he said that he could have a basic understanding of the discussions. That's already quite good. In the past, in China, there was only one. Well, I cannot say that did in-depth research, and his name was Li Chen in Taiwan, the one that researched rather deeply. That's Master In Sun, my guru. The first guru that I took refuge in was In Sun Master. He wrote a book called The History of Buddhism, Philosophy of India, the history. Of Buddhist philosophy in India. According to him, there are many Mahayana sutras that do not have authors. Who are the authors? Who were the authors of Mahayana Sutras? Nobody. Most of the time, that's spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. That was not written by Sakyamuni Buddha, but he spoke on it. But Tantric sutras have authors. So most Tantric sutras have authors who wrote it, who said it. So the Tantric sutras have authors, but not the Mahayana sutras. So when divided into different sects, Madhyamaka Prasangika, Madhyamaka Swatantrika, Yogacara, True Mind School, Yogacara False Mind School. He said he understands a little bit. That's not bad. Anybody can understand it thoroughly. Anybody has done any research on them? Please raise your hand. All these different schools, like what is Madhyamaka Prasangika, what is Madhyamaka Swatantrika. If I want to show you the books, it would be this much. Li Chen's books. And also those written by Master Yin Sun. There were lots of them. So they have analyzed them. But I don't quite into those. Just sometimes I would read them and browse through them. So during the Tang Dynasty in China, had the most translations and publications of the sutras, because during that era they were able to print. So there were the most publications of sutras during the Tang Dynasty. And all this division into different schools were divided by latter believers, latter people. He did not talk about these different schools, but he just said that he gained some basic understanding of them. Well, that's already not bad. Because right here, nobody raised their hand, which means they did not know. Totally wakaranai. They don't know anything about it.
I don't know. 讲什么派，什么都不知道。不过你应该了解他讲的对《楞严经》的主旨。
But his understanding of the principal meaning of Surangama Sutra. I haven't even finished Surangama Sutra. There are many bodhisattvas talking about their own insight and experience in Surangama Sutra, and they showed us what made them enlightened. And there were many bodhisattvas in the Surangama Sutra, 50. How many bodhisattvas are there? That's a bit toward the end. 25? 25 bodhisattvas came out and spoke on what made them enlightened. And each of the bodhisattvas use a different method.
那么他体悟的心得是
So
有生有灭之中，
what he understood is from what is arising and ceasing, one recognizes the non-arising and non-ceasing wondrous luminous true mind.
讲过18戒嘛，
And then the 18 sense fields, which is the 6 roots, 6 dust, and 6 consciousnesses.
加起来就18嘛。
That's 18 altogether, right?
就18戒称为18
The
戒，
18 sense fields
他认为这个是有生有灭，
are subject to arising and
妙
ceasing,
真心是不生不灭的，
whereas the wondrous luminous true mind is non-arising and non-ceasing.
没有错误。
Is there any error in this understanding?
本来就不生不灭的，
Originally, there is non-rising, non-ceasing,
就像虚空一样啊。
just like the cosmic space. It is fundamentally non-arising and non-ceasing.
阴天啊，
So rain, clouds,
雷浪、冰雹，
a sunny day, thunder, lightning, hails, all are arising and ceasing.
那么原来的虚空它是不生不灭，
But the original sky itself is non-arising and non-ceasing. That's the principle.
这个我已经讲过。
I have spoken on this, that the sky itself is non-arising and non-ceasing.
生有灭，
But on the surface, those things are arising and ceasing.
应该这样子讲，对不对？
That's what we should say,
他
right?
讲的这个他的领悟
So
也算是
his understanding,
应该是没有什么错误。
there should not be any error in it.
像我们人
What he
是
said,
有生有灭的，
like the human is arising and ceasing,
佛性啊本身是不生不灭的。
but the Buddha nature is non-arising and non-ceasing.
就是这样子讲，他的意思是这样子。那么对《维摩诘经》的体悟心得是，
So,
讲的是不二，
but about the Vimalakirti Sutra, his understanding is that the Vimalakirti Sutra talks about non-duality.
是轮回跟涅槃不二，
That is, samsara and nirvana are non-dual.
其实是一，不是二。圣地跟
There's actually one, not two. So the transcendent ground and the mundane ground are also non-dual. Wisdom and methods are also non-dual.
也是不二。
And Kalachakra's principal meaning are also non-dual. So, is there any error in his understanding?
认为呢，
What do you all think?
反正没有人讲。
Nobody is speaking, so that means you agree.
有意见的举手啊！你们有意见的举手，没有意见的话，
If you have any opinion, raise your hand. Otherwise, that means you agree.
这样子再接着再讲。
And then he
是
continues,
对的，
if non-duality is correct,
虚空
then Prasangika Madhyamaka's view of ultimate emptiness
但是以前
and
好像有一个派别，西藏
Junang view of other emptiness. I think it's a school.
的他空见、自空见、他空见，他认为
Other emptiness.
弟子讲，那他认为都落到一边去了。请问师尊，弟子的体悟有没有错误之处？
He thinks those are on the wayside. Is that correct?
你们谁懂得解求法？
Anybody know about this Jonang
那
school?
个字读的求吗？
Jonang school of Tibetan Buddhism.
反正这个 管他什么派了，
whatever school.
因为哦，很像是球读着切，又揪着拿。截然派现在已经没有了嘛，
Now it doesn't exist anymore.
在西藏已经没有，
Not in Tibet,
但
not
是
not popular, not widely open.
好像是哪一位是马吉拉尊的吧？
No, is it from Machilaptrum?
杰拉派的，
No.
杰仪，
No, that's
还
chalk.
有杰仪啊，还有杰仪，
Another school.
还有杰郎，还有杰什么？太多了吧？
There are too many different schools. I can't stand it.
他那个很多民族的什么毕竟空、
Oh, there's so many different
空见、
terms.
虚空见、
Ultimate
圣意，
emptiness,
他认为是各落为边。
other emptiness, ultimate emptiness, ultimate existence.
学识上的研究是可以，
This is fine for scholarly research, but for actual practice,
不必太那个。像英顺导师来，
there is no need to be so particular.
而且他很有研究，
Like Master In Shin and Li Chen
对佛教
both
的学识方面
did a lot of studies on this,
经典上的，
did a lot of research about issues of the sutras.
所讲出来的东西，
So things that Li Chen says,
不是
he believed that many sutras were not spoken by the Buddha.
的也有，
They were created or composed by later people, or even just commentaries.
大圣起信论，他认为是后人编造的，其中有很多的错误，李晨都把它指出来。
So
楞严经
there were many
是综合很多的经典
problems
造
that
出来的。
Li Chen pointed out,
我们今天讲的
like the Surangama Sutra,
很多的经典，收集很多的资料，
and he compiled
把它编造出来。
that Surangama Sutra was a compilation of many other sutras. That's according to Li Chen.
还是要讲为什么？
Many, but we still should discuss it and expound on it, because some of
不
them
合理，
are sensible
神所说的，
or they comply with the principles, but some are not. So that's according to Li Chen. Actually, they are a compilation of many other
按照理
sutras.
编造出来，
So Surangama Sutra was
严结局
created
也是编造出来。
according to Li Chen. And also the Sutra Perfect Enlightenment was also created.
那个
So many of them.
是很多的那时候的弟子跟很多的弟子集合在一起，
But the compilations of the Buddha Sutras were also created, compiled by the Buddha's
没
disciples,
有记载。
because they will only listen.
以后的结集，
They only listened
弟子一起
when the Buddha spoke. So all the written sutras were compiled and created
很
later.
多的经典合起来，又编成一
And then
经典出来。
in the Tang Dynasty, they also collected a lot of the sutras. And then they created a new
圣起圣
text.
信论，楞严经也是维经， 严结经也是为经，
So
为经。
Surangama Sutra, the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment, they're all non-sutras, not spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha.
也是为经，
Even
多的经典
Lankavatara Sutra and many other sutra,
所看认为
based on their
这是
research,
如理的，这是合理的。
that this one complies, that those are not comply.
我也全部看了。
And I have read all
人
those.
家问我为什么你要讲楞严经？
And people ask me, why do you want to expound on the Surangama Sutra?
不是，全部都是编造出来的东西。
Because it's all just a compilation, it's just created, right? Why do you want to discuss? But inside it, there are things that are rational
有些
or
是不如理的，
some are irrational or not,
有些是合理。
doesn't comply. But some comply
我们是借这一本经典，
because we
讲
understand.
一些道理，
So we just make use
合理的我就讲，
of the sutra to
稍微
teach some principles,
糊弄过去。
things that are compliant with the principles that I would explain, but things that are not compliant, I would just pass through it fast.
名言百为，它里程
Like about the
楞严经
book 100
认为错误的
false points on the Surangama Sutra written by Li Chen.
楞严百为，
That book.
100个错误的地方，他把它挑出来。
So
认定这一本经典是
he picked on 100
集合
errors
去把它伪造出来。
or points in the Surangama Sutra that showed it was not the original sutra spoken by the Buddha.
都错误哦，
And also the treatise on awakening faith in the Mahayana, the same many errors. So which sutras can you really trust?
大众部
So the school of the elders
好多的部
did not believe about the schools of the Great Assembly. And then even the Great Assembly school further divided into many other schools.
不是空，不是有，不是非空非有，而是不二。不二就是绝对的一。
So therefore,
这是搬弄文字，
he believed it's not emptiness, not existent, not neither emptiness nor existence, but non-dual,
就是一。
non-duality.
那三，
So one is not two, two is not one, and how about three, how about zero? So you're just playing with words, that's all.
绝对一是什么？
And the absolute one, what is that?
你呀，绝对的一是又是什么？
So let me ask you, what is the absolute
二就是绝对的
one?
一。
Non-duality is the absolute one. What is that?
师尊问你啊，
So now Grandmaster is asking you, Lianhua Siguang from Lianhu Lizang Temple, what is the absolute one?
总研究出来啊。你说绝对的一
So
就是
you
零
do more research,
那零
and if you say zero, then what is zero?
零就是空啊，
Zero is emptiness. Now what is
就
emptiness?
一直问下去啊。
I will continue to ask you, what is emptiness? Emptiness is
就
emptiness.
是空是什么？
Then what is emptiness is emptiness.
就空空空，
Empty, empty, empty. So three emptiness then?
追问下去没有。
So if you continue asking this meaningless, that's meaningless.
所以很多事情很难讲。什么是禅定？
So it's very difficult to talk about many things. What is meditation?
睡跟醒之间，
Grandmaster has said it's between sleep and a wakefulness.
但你也不是
You
清醒，
don't fall asleep, but you're not fully awake either.
这中间是什么？
So what is in between?
你能够讲得出来？
Can you talk about it?
刚刚我没有睡着，
I did not fall asleep just now.
我没有睡啊，
I did not sleep.
但是我也不是清醒的，我也不是醒着，
But I was not awake either.
那是什么？
So what was that?
真的很难讲。
So it's really difficult to say.
我不喜欢什么这个应成派呀、知识派呀。
I don't like this prasangika madhyamaka, sadhatika madhyamaka,
所讲
18 sense fields, the Surangama Sutra. You just followed me.
是哪一边？
So they're on one side, but which side?
边是哪一边？
So fallen to one side. What side are you talking about? Right or left or middle?
左边的左边，右边的右边。
Left is left, right is right. What are you talking about?
研究这些经典，
If you want to truly research these sutras, oh my
一
heavens,
大堆。
the books would be so tall.
我也看了，我不是没有看。
It's not that I don't read them, I have read them.
派啊，怎么看？
All this Madhyamaka Prasangika, Madhyamaka Swatantrika. So if I read it today, I would remember it today or for a week. But after a while, I would forget.
真的，我对
I have read so many books,
乱七八糟的书我都看。
all kinds of books. I read them all.
大部分有些印象，有些是有印象的，
Some
有些是
left impressions. Some I have completely forgotten.
活的，也必须。不二就是绝对的一。他的
So non-duality is the absolute one. That's his conclusion.
而是不二，
It is not emptiness, not existence, not neither emptiness nor existence, but non-duality. Non-duality is the absolute one. So what is the absolute one? Amitabha.
他讲的理论都是对的。
The theories that he was talking about was right. But if you go deeper,
没有人能够讲得出来。
nobody can
这种东西，
talk about it because it is
这种
unspeakable.
东西最终的不是文字可以表达，
Because ultimately, Buddhism
没有办法表达。
cannot be put into words. No language
不是你可以用文字跟语言可以表达出来。
or text or words can describe it. And these all are just words,
不
language.
是文字，也不是语言，
The wondrous luminous true mind is not a text, it's not a language, it's not words.
听话说，
It's unspeakable, beyond description.
到最后文殊师利菩萨，
So finally, Manjusri Bodhisattva,
文殊师利菩萨讲什么？最后呢？
what did he say at the end about non-duality?
维摩诘到最后讲，什么是不二？
Vimalakirti,
维摩诘一句话都不讲，这就是不二。
Manjushri asked, what is non-duality? And Vimalakirti did not say anything, and that is non-duality. It is unspeakable,
这是经历
cannot be
跟
spoken.
你已经讲了，什么是不二？
So the Jingli Tathagata has spoken on non-duality.
可以讲，
Yet you still say it's the absolute one.
讲
But let me tell you,
就
be silent. Don't say anything. So silence is like thunder, bright and
维摩诘有没有讲不二？
loud.
没有啊
Did Vimalakirti say non-duality? No.
是跟语言
He just kept silent. because it cannot be put into words or languages. That's the highest realm.
所以你讲绝对的一，
So you said it's the absolute one, then that's wrong for sure.
导出来了。人家维摩诘才
Because you expressed
维摩诘就
something,
是一句话都不讲，
but Vimalakirti was more incredible because he did not say anything.
释利菩萨讲的。
What did Manjushri Bodhisattva say?
对呀、他用文字讲啦，无开无示，什么都没有。看维摩诘讲了，他不讲，
There is nothing. Oh, Manjushri said
两个是对等的。
there are no words that can describe it. And then Vimalakirti just kept silent. So the two of them were at par, on the equal footing. Now do you know?
所以你讲绝对的一，就是
So
讲出来。
you said the absolute one, and because you expressed something, so you lost to Vimalakirti.
包含一切，
Because when Vimalakirti did not say a word, that encompasses everything. That's how incredible Vimalakirti was. That's why he was the Jinsu Tathagata.
哪里有讲？
Tathagata.
讲，你讲出来就落一边了。
It's not something that can be said. As soon as you say something, then you fall to one side.
就是一边。
So the absolute one is one side. There is no one.
好了，
That one doesn't even exist. Okay?
言归正传，
Now let's go back to the
我们讲念眼睛。
main topic. Let's discuss the Surangama
他
Sutra.
讲眼睛呐、就是因为
He
有
talked about the eyes.
跟暗，
That's because of light and darkness. That's why you can see
这个就是眼
things.
睛。他形容眼睛的形状，就是像葡萄。
So that's eyes. And the shape is like the grape seeds.
别的经典里面不是讲眼睛的形状像葡萄籽，
Other sutras don't talk about the eyes looking like grape seeds.
眼睛像葡
But it's written
你
that
的眼睛像葡萄，
your eyes are like grapes. Are your eyes like grapes?
那个是他应该讲西方人的眼睛像葡萄，
Mm,
颜色是属于那种颜色。
We should say
西方人的眼睛
that the eyes of the Westerners are like grapes.
那是什
Their
么颜色？
colors. What colors are those called?
像我的小孙女的眼睛就跟我们颜色不一样，
Like the color of my little granddaughter is different from ours. Ours are black
你
eyes.
小孙女的眼睛就是不一样。
My little granddaughter
一点
is different. There's some blue in it.
葡萄籽，
So like grapeseed. That's like a foreigner.
他这个眼睛的图叫葡萄斗，葡萄斗，
Like a grape.
这是因为眼睛的关系，眼睛看。
Like a grape.
你如果
And because the eye see,
那个青海无上师，你以前记得有一
you
个
remember
叫青海无上，
there was a Dharma propagator called Qinghai
内在
Wu Sangsi.
看你
She talked about the inner light. It came from
看
this.
内在光，
So what is about
原来的妙
observing your inner light? That's to
看外面的，
see your own wondrous luminous true mind. You don't see the externals.
往内看不是往外，
You should look inward and not outward.
往外看的，就是色尘。
If you look outwardly, you see the dust and the forms and colors.
往内看是看你内在的。
If you look inside, you look at the wondrous luminous true mind
青海无上师，
inside,
也就是根据
and that's the inner light. that's spoken by Qinghai Wu Sangsi Master.
看你的妙明真，
That's from the Surangama Sutra.
不是看外面的，被外面的。
So spiritual cultivation is to look inward into your wondrous luminous true mind and not to look outwardly and become deluded by what you see.
这个道理就是在这里。
That's the concept.
由动跟静发出来的，
And from movement and stillness,
这个声音就产生了动。
for example, when I talk, that generates waves, sound waves, and then the ears hear it. If I don't speak,
你什么都没有听到。
then you don't hear anything.
就讲话声音也会影响你。
So the sound
被外面的声音
can influence you too. Your ears are deluded by the external
动
circumstances.
静等二相相即以妙言
So by the two appearances of movement and stillness attached to the wondrous luminous true mind, hearing arises.
引住了。
So your ears are attached to the
这就是
sound.
耳体，它耳体形容什么呢？形容莲
And
叶子，心开
that's the physical ear, shaped like a newly curled leaf.
就是你的耳朵。
That's your ears.
你只敢看看自己的耳朵，
Look at your own ears. Are they look
叶子新开出来的，
are they look like
它是这样子形容。
looking like the newly called lotus leaf?
那个倒转在母胎里面的 baby 的倒转，
Looks like a
这个有点
baby in the womb, a fetus
baby 啊
upside down,
头啊 ，baby
the head and the body.
耳朵啊，
So a fetus upside down. That's the shape of the fetus in the womb. Your ears.
现在形容就像熏，
That's the description in the Surangama
熏
Sutra.
就是莲花，莲花的叶子刚刚开出来的时候，莲花叶就是你的耳朵。
So lotus leaf, that's just newly opening. That's the shape of your ears.
你的心跟
And the floating root and foredust flow and rush towards sound.
这个就是你的耳朵。
That's about your ears.
耳朵为什么会产生这个样子？耳朵有时候是被外界所
Why
尾巴的声音，
do that happen to the ears? Because when you hear something, it would affect you. If you hear slanders, you would feel angry.
你心里就产生火，
When the voice
血压就
enter your ears, your
粗鲁的动作，
your temper rises, your blood pressure rises, and then you would become violent
美妙的音乐，
or become rough.
好的音乐，
When you hear beautiful, melodious music, then you feel like you want to dance.
声音呢很好听，砰哒啦哒叽喳叽喳，砰哒啦哒叽喳叽喳，
When you hear nice music, that's rumba. Then you feel like dancing rumba.
恰砰恰恰，就是胡步嘛，就是恰恰嘛，
And that's cha-cha.
然后再来，砰砰砰哒砰砰砰。
And then
这是探戈，
that's tango.
砰哒砰哒砰哒砰哒砰哒，这是吉鲁巴，
That's jives.
这是吉鲁巴，啊，你就想跳舞，哦，
And you feel like
还
dancing.
是很好
Such nice rhythm.
这样砰哒哒哒这样这样，这是伦巴，
And that's rumba.
嗯，我们小的呢，砰哒哒砰哒哒，这是华尔
That's
兹，
waltz.
这是华尔兹啊。你听到这个音乐，你就想
So when you hear those musics, you want to dance. Then you have become enticed by
你
it,
会
allured.
听你 妙明真心的声音呢？
But why don't you listen to the sound of your wondrous luminous true mind?
内
So,
在音。
so that's what the Qinghai Wu master talk about. Listen to your inner sound.
被迷惑了，
The eyes
你只是看到美色，
are deluded. You only see the beautiful appearances and you become lusty.
糟糕，你知道吗？
Some people are really bad. They like to
人
peek
家洗澡为什么
peep into other people's
你
bathing.
被眼睛迷掉了嘛？
Why are you doing that? Because you're
迷掉了。
bewildered by your
为
eyes.
什么你喜欢看迷你裙？
Why do you like to see
你喜
miniskirts?
欢看人家的玉腿嘛？
Because you like to see legs, ladies' legs,
露得很短，
and they would wear really short skirt.
拿相机偷拍，
Why some
拍你
people
的裙子，
some people will secretly take photos under your
眼睛
skirts?
孔明了。眼睛
That's
手
because your eyes have deluded you.
那你听音乐，
Have obsessed you.
哎呦，这声音不太对啊。
Or when you hear some music or sound that's not right. Oh, that's not quite right.
有时候你住在这个美国的这个公寓啊，美国
Sometimes when you live in an apartment in America, they have no soundproof at all, so you can hear what they're doing next door.
你都听得到，你听到，哎呀，
And when you hear that, oops,
幻想，
what are they doing? Immediately, you think about all sorts of things in your brain.
你为什么不
All sort
听
of.
一听你的内在的声音呢？
Instead, why don't you listen to your inner sound?
那就是青海无上师所讲的
So that's what's taught by Master Qinghai Wu.
内在的。
So look at the inner light, listen to the inner sound.
耳朵里面
That's from the sutra. That's that arises from the
按
ears.
照他的这个文字讲，他这个
I will not follow the words. The words were badly written.
那些文字，
I really don't like to read them.
所以有时候啊，你要把你的眼睛关起来，
That's why you have, sometimes you want to close your eyes. Don't look. Just look inside.
有时候啊，不要老是听外面的声音，
Don't always listen to all the sounds.
看看你自己。
Why don't you listen to your inner sound? Just observe what you're thinking, what you're saying inside. What are you talking about inside?
那是听内在音，
So that's listening to the inner sound.
你自己可以
Whether your mindset, your train of thoughts are correct or not, and you can observe your own level of spiritual cultivation.
无上师讲，
That's spoken by Qinghai Wu Master.
讲这个动静两个相，
And next,
明暗就是眼睛，动静
movement and stillness, that's about the sound and the ears. Light and darkness about the eyes. And then the shape of the ear
刚刚
is like a newly curled lotus leaf.
那眼睛呢，它的形状
And the shape of the eyes
就像葡萄斗，
like a grape.
然后他再讲，再来讲
And next,
通跟善，就讲鼻子了。
talking about the
鼻
nose.
子如果通的时候啊，你得到 COVID-19 的时候啊，你不是
So about openness and obstruction.
得到 COVID-19，
Like when you contracted COVID-19, then your nose is blocked
厕所的味道，
and you don't smell anything. Even when you go to the bathroom and after you poop,
你还是闻不到臭味，
You don't smell anything
是香的，
and you think it's fragrant.
其实是臭的。
Actually, it's really foul and
都
stinky,
是鼻子
but you could not smell anything because your nose was blocked.
你
You
鼻子
could not
通
smell
闻
anything.
到味道，
But when your nose is open, then you can smell.
黏着你就会嗅，
So smelling
你
arises,
会闻到哦，这个是很香，
and
臭的你就闻到很
you will be able to smell, oh, this is fragrant and this is stinky.
就会产生出来。
So fragrance versus stinkiness would arise. You like fragrant things, but not foul, smelly thing.
那个我的学
When I just got out from my bathroom, my little granddaughter went into it and said,
什么样猫会？我刚从厕所出来，当然是什么样猫会？
I just got out from the bathroom. Of course, it smelled no good.
吃起来味道不一样，
It smelled different.
味道不一样，因为
She said,
是通
so strange, it smelled something weird because the nose is open. But if it's blocked, then you cannot smell anything fragrant or
说是
smelly.
身体有香味，
Some people say that grandmaster smells fragrant, of course, because of course that's fragrant.
不然这样子的话，
If you don't do that,
运动流汗，
and after you sweat, exercise, work in the garden, and
香汗
you have those bad body odor.
公平，
And for the man, we say smelly sweat, but for the woman, we say fragrant sweat.
是香汗。
That's unfair.
我们男的运动回来就是臭汗淋漓，
Why? That's unfair. For the man, it's stinky. For the woman, it's fragrant sweat.
难道还是香的吗？
So when the woman poop, would you say that there's a fragrant? No,
节的关系，
that's due to the sense of the smell. Because the nose smells.
所以鼻子通的时候啊，
So when the nose opens,
你就喜欢香的。
you can smell and you like
那么
fragrances
它的形状呢？
fragrances
水爪，
and not the smelly things. And the shape is like hanging claws, like this.
它应该讲说是两个山洞吧？
You should say 2 little caves. What is the nose shape like?
它写的是锤爪，
It's written here 2 hanging claws,
蒜头
garlic.
蒜头皮是财主哎。你讲
You
蒜
know, garlic nose means you have money.
那财主
When a man has a garlic nose, a nose that's shaped like garlic,
是锤爪，
that's a wealthy man.
形容。锤爪
I don't know how to describe. 2 hanging claws like this.
这个实在是写的如双锤爪，鼻涕呀、平民鼻涕，鼻的形状像两个锤爪，
So
还是
the shape of the nose.
你为什么你的鼻子啊，喜欢
So
香的，会喜欢
why does your nose
鼻
like
子啊？
fragrant things and not smelly things?
哎，你碰到那个我在问事啊，
In my spiritual consultation, people took off their shoes. People take off their shoes. Oh my gosh. Some people just have such stinky feet. As soon as they walked in, oh no, I can't stand it. And then I walk away.
真的味道不好啊。
It was really stinky. It smelled so
而
bad.
且你问世的时候，你还很接近我，
And then for spiritual consultation, you're so close to me, and then you open your mouth and
晕倒。
I fainted. I fainted.
最怕的一件事情来，
That's the worst thing I am afraid of all my life is your bad mouth
进来不是
odor.
哦又很接近你，
And for spiritual consultation, they're so close to you, and they haven't brushed their teeth for days, maybe,
蒜
and then they ate garlic,
吐出来的气啊，
and so bad breath.
一闻啊，
Oh,
一闻差一点晕倒。
and when it got to my nose, I almost fainted. How could I give any consultation? Just quickly.
随便讲一讲啊，你赶快出去吧。
I just said, whatever, and just get out of here. I almost fainted.
如果是那个是年轻的小姐进来，
Had it been a young, beautiful lady
那个刷牙用牙线
who used floss and dental pick
把它洗掉，
and
那个
clean their teeth
瓷白
to be free from all
吐出来气
food debris with white teeth and breathe nice fragrant breath, then I would speak a little bit longer.
一张口，那牙齿
But elderlies, and then with blackened teeth and lost a few teeth, and then they exuded a bad breath. Oh,
没办法呼吸啊。
I couldn't even breathe, so I almost lost my
真
consciousness.
的问世也有很多啊，我把那个
So there were many
脚臭
events during spiritual consultation. Like they had some athletes' feet.
有些人是没有洗
Some people did not bathe for days, maybe.
进来，就整个房
And they got in, and the whole room was smelly.
这是鼻根啊，鼻子本身发出
So that's the faculty of the nose.
吸进来，它通
So because it opens, so you can smell those.
塞住，它就闻得到。
But when it's blocked, then you cannot smell it.
就是
So
就是随着双转，那个是鼻子，
the floating root and four dust flow and rush toward fragrance.
通、塞等两种相发，
By the two appearances of openness and obstruction, attached to or glued to the wondrous luminous true mind, smelling arises. So say this is the wondrous luminous true mind. And the eyes, ears, nose are glued to the wondrous luminous true mind or attached to the wondrous luminous true mind. Just like the sky, that the clouds are attached to the sky.
虚空被那个风黏住，
Or the sky is being attached by the wind, by the rain, by the hails, by the lightning, and all those things are glued to it.
其实是没有。
And then you think that there are things in the sky, but actually the sky has nothing.
还有什么好讲？就是
What else should I talk about?
那彼此怎么修行啊？彼此就是我们
How do you cultivate spiritually with your nose?
的修气，
So for us is the breathing practice.
我们在修行当中啊，用彼此
So in our spiritual cultivation, we use our nose to cultivate.
修气的时候啊，要闭气，
So
气进去，
When you do a breathing practice, you need to inhale and hold the breath and exhale. What colors, how long, those are all the breathing methods.
要长，
It needs to be long,
要等，要相等，进
needs
气
to be
进来的气
equal,
出去
coming in and going out,
它的颜色，另外它的这个
and the
呼
colors,
吸的长短
and then the length of the breathing,
规定，
and where the breath would go.
是按照是用鼻子来修行。
That's how the Tantrika do the breathing practice. They use the nose.
这也是笑话吗？
Is this a joke?
他说找对象就像找厕所，
Looking for a partner is like looking for a toilet. When you go into the first room and they poo in it.
于是就走到第二，
So you go to the next stall
没有纸，
and there's no tissue paper. And then you go to the third one.
既有屎又没有纸。
There's poo and no tissues.
前面两间已经被人家占走，
And then you look back and the other two stalls were occupied.
找对象就像找厕所。
So looking for a partner is like looking for a toilet.
经常没有写作业的小孩，一定能成就大事。
The children that often skip homework would have great success
寻找
because
做冷静，临危
they can stay calm
不水。
and maintain stillness like water.
作业的小孩一定能成就大事。
So children that don't do homework will have great success. Is that right?
什么叫做闺蜜？
What are best friends?
讲的
And the monk said,
800个人身败名裂，
when you meet for 5 minutes, 800 people lost their reputations. And when you go out for 2 hours, there is no good person in the whole world.
定三观一样，但讨厌的人必须要有一样。
And you have the same taste, but
笑话，
you dislike the same person. Is this a joke?
而且
Maybe it's the same sickness.
我不嫌你要吃多，
And I don't care if I take the drug
之后
or,
他智障，
or if you take too much drug. Sometimes she's an idiot and sometimes you're the idiot.
会一起祸害苍生。
Although you can't be born together, but you can ruin the humanity together.
哎，
That's called best friends.
这是不是笑话？
It's a joke, I don't know.
两个小朋友在聊天，
Two little kids chatting.
其
A
实
says,
有用的人，
my dad is a very useful person. And B asks, oh really?
当然是啊，
And A said, of course, because he
更
can
多的温暖，
give a lot more warmth to mom and myself. Because mom always says, as soon as she sees him, the fire of anger rises.
我突然想到，
I suddenly
新娘子
remembered
的时候都会
that when a bride
谁
in the wedding would throw the bouquet and whoever catches it
谁就会下一个结婚，
will get married next.
有吗？哈，
Is there such a custom?
谁接到就是下一个结婚。 以后我如果死了，
So when I die,
司仪丢花，
I would ask the MC to throw the bouquet, and whoever catches it
想就很刺激。
would be the next one, and I get really excited thinking about it.
有些决定是在这里做出来的，
Some decisions are made this way. The longest distance
就在身后，
in the world is that the
人生就
toilet is behind you, and life is like going to the
有时
toilet.
你努力了很久，
I have given it my best for the longest time, and what I got is just a fart. What I manage.
算了，
Oh,
我们来谈以后。
whatever. Oh, mani padme hum.